I am so glad to know about this organization. Our Kids, it says on their folder, where children and families find help, hope, and healing. And it's my pleasure to introduce both of you, Sue Fort White, Executive Director, and Jill Howlett, Social Worker. This gem in our community, a grassroots organization that you really operate differently from other groups. So tell us how children get to you that need healing, that need help, that have been abused, neglected, whatever the circumstances may be. How do they get to Our Kids?
Okay, so first, we're in our 30th anniversary year, and we provide medical evaluations and crisis counseling in response to child sexual abuse. So it's a tough topic, and I can let Jill tell you about how the children get here. But I will say this, that the prevalence of child sexual abuse is terrible. It's nearly epidemic, and so 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 7 boys will experience some form of child sexual abuse by the time they reach age 18. So the problem here, you know, silence and secrecy are the vehicles of betrayal and exploitation and abuse.
You can't stay silent. We can't deny this.
That's right.
People can't be in denial if they are. It's not reality. This is all around us. It's in every community. We're no different.
Right.
Okay, so Jill, how do these children get into your care, or how are they identified?
Most of our referrals come from the Department of Children's Services. So there's a open investigation with the Department of Children's Services that refers children to us. Our next referral source is law enforcement. So cases from police officers are they're calling us to evaluate children. And medical providers also send a large number of children to our clinic because children are comfortable in their own doctor's offices. So they'll go to those doctor's offices and then they'll refer to us for a forensic medical evaluation. You don't have to have a referral from any of those sources to come to us. You don't have to have an open investigation to do that. On those cases, we'll take calls and kind of determine what the next step needs to be for families.
So let's say someone suspects a child is being sexually abused. It's not been reported to the authorities. They could call you directly and say, look, you know, I want to be anonymous, but I think this child is being abused.
They can do that. Our response to them will probably be to call the hotline with the Department of Children's Services. They will start an investigation. What the law says is that any person who suspects abuse of a child has a duty to report that to the Department of Children's Services hotline.
Okay, if you think a child is being abused, I know we've got some full screen graphics to look at what should we do if we think a child is being abused. Can you kind of walk us through these?
Sure.
And this is about child sexual abuse.
Child sexual abuse, thank you. Okay.
Yes. I do think to listen to that child, to not question that child, to be able to listen to the words that they are using, and to believe and support the child. Tell them thank you for telling. Not to overreact, not to, and it will be hard for parents to not become emotional, but to do your best to try to remain calm and to reassure your child that telling, or reassure that child that telling is the right thing to do. And then take action. You need to notify the authorities, and the hotline number is the way to get authorities notified in the whole state. So that's the number for the entire state.
And I'm going to read that number right
Sure.
now for people if they're walking around not looking at the screen. 877-237-0004. That's throughout Tennessee. What are the right? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Sue.
Well, one of the things that's so important in terms of staying calm, it's so difficult in this situation because 95% of the time, so let's say last year we evaluated over 800 children. Not over 95% of the time, the accused perpetrator is someone that's known and trusted by the family and by the child. And so you're sort of sitting there going, I can't believe that my father would do this to my 5-year-old or my brother or the older cousin, you know, or my new husband. And so that is why I always say this, but it's true, an appointment at Our Kids is not a 20-minute medical transaction. It's really an intense encounter that usually lasts between an hour and a half and sometimes 4 hours, because so much is going on, and there's so many feelings that the parent or grandparent has about the child's disclosure.
And again, denial, I would think, would enter into it a lot of the times. Like, that
Sure.
can't be right.
Sure.
Right.
That can't
like,
be right.
Like if somebody came to my door and said, well, your husband, you know, your 5-year-old has just said that your husband has done this to her. Like, I'd say, there's no way, right?
Right, right. Should educating our children about sex abuse, child sex abuse, should that be something we do as routinely as teaching them about other types of safety, you know, walking to school or whatever? Should that be?
Absolutely, absolutely.
thought
I
that
think
would be your answer, yeah.
from the very beginning, just talking to children about naming their private parts, and they don't have to be technical names. Just something that if a child discloses to someone outside the family, they will know what that means. And you can call them private parts, but just arming children with names that they know. If someone touches them, let me know. And don't put any qualifiers on that. You don't have to say, if someone touches them, I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. Or if someone touches them, I'll hurt that person. Just if someone touches them, come and let me know. And then as a parent, then it becomes your job to listen and be calm about what your child might say.
For people who want to learn more about this very difficult topic, but again, we need to talk about it, and to learn more about our kids, how do they get in touch with you?
We have a wonderful website.
Okay.
They can go to www.ourkidscenter.com, and there are tons of resources available that will help parents start having those conversations with their children. As soon as they're learning what their arms and legs are, they can learn about their private parts, and it's just another part of their body. When children become when they start developing and start knowing those things, then they should be able to talk about their private parts. And parents should also be able to listen to that as well.
All right, very important. I'm sorry we could go on, but we have to wrap up now. Thank you both, Sue and Jill, for sharing our kids with the public and for all the good work you do and the healing that's
you.
happening.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you for watching Community Health Matters. Learn more ways to improve your health at mycommunityhealthmatters.org. And remember, here in Middle Tennessee, our community health matters.